After being struck to death by lightning, Lin Feng traveled to Marvel Universe later on. He obtained the strongest green skin system, and from then on, he began to work hard. Dry fight, or dry fight. Captain America, are you going to have a fight with my boys? Iron Man, do you think you have the prowess of my great skill master? Hulk, why not compete with my Warboss? When Mie Ba saw the overwhelming green tide rushing towards him, he's going to run away. Lin Feng also gradually led his boys to become more and more waaaaagh, standing on countless worlds and at the pinnacle of countless universes. Chapter 1. Is this Marvel? You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Where am I? My head hurts so much. Lin Feng slowly opened his eyes and looked at the unfamiliar environment in front of him. My heart was filled with surprise and confusion. Lin Feng clearly remembers that he was hiding under a big tree on a rainy day, and then was struck to death by the lightning of justice from the sky. What is his current situation and how could he still be conscious? He looked around and found that he was currently in an alley, dark and damp. Even worse, he only realized now that he was in a trash can. Lin Feng was nauseous from the sudden odor. Then he immediately flipped it out, ignoring the dirty and filthy things on his body. Walk towards the light. But before taking 2 steps, Lin Feng's brain suddenly burst into countless memories. Various information flooded Lin Feng's mind, and through this information, he gradually realized that he was no longer on the same blue star as before. Is this Marvel Universe? Are you teasing me? Lin Feng is now completely numb and in a state of complete disorder. Although this world is a modern society, ordinary people like Lin Feng without any superpowers are the most vulnerable. Those superheroes, supervillains, and the aftermath of casual fights can kill a large number of ordinary people like Lin Feng. It is true immortals who fight and ordinary people suffer. In the early stages, it was fine, but in the later stages, the Heavenly God Group, waaaaagh, and various guys can definitely make Lin Feng die 1,000 or 800 times. Not to mention the purple potato essence who held 6 infinite gems behind him. It took half of the life in the universe with just one snap of a finger. Lin Feng doesn't want to gamble whether he is the surviving half of the person, it's too dangerous. Lin Feng also learned from his own memory that the place he is currently in is the center of various major events, the joyful gunfight of New York every day. Alright, Lin Feng feels even worse now. He has traveled here now and is not a wealthy person. He is also a millionaire and has no superpowers. He feels that even his current life is a problem, let alone how to quickly leave this haunted place. At the beginning of the day, Lin Feng just wanted to kneel down and roast for 3 days and 3 nights. Fortunately, there is no way out, and Lin Feng's golden finger has appeared. Ding dong. The strongest green skin orc system has sensed the host's strong unwillingness and successfully activated it. A cold and powerful electronic sound suddenly came to Lin Feng's mind. The green skin orcs. Is that the green skin orcs I know of? Is it the green skin orcs from Warhammer 40k? That group of people who like to keep moaning. After hearing this electronic sound, Lin Feng was momentarily stunned, then reacted and, with a hint of surprise, asked the voice in his mind. That's right, the host is the familiar green orc race in your memory, the happiest race in the Milky Way, and the terrifying race with the greatest war talent. The system quickly replied, still the cold and powerful voice, as if it was really like an orc big guy. It's just becoming a bit more refined. Great. Lin Feng suddenly became ecstatic. He knew very well how powerful these races, which were rampant in the universe and crazily seeking war, were. This group of green-skinned orcs is a combination of animal and plant characteristics. This group of joyful creatures reproduce extremely quickly, and their terrifying reproduction speed is also their most important reliance for fighting everywhere in the entire galaxy. They do not reproduce through viviparity similar to humans, or egg-laying reproduction similar to that of reptiles. These guys spread and reproduce through their specific spores. Just like the spores of mushrooms, they grow everywhere. Their bodies are like a collection of spores, constantly spreading spores to the surrounding earth while they are alive. Every path they take will have their traces, and soon, these spreading spores will rapidly develop and mature in an extremely short period of time, followed by countless creatures such as orc boys, fart spirits, and skuggets. Form a complete ecosystem. Of course, this is a unique ecosystem for the green-skinned individuals themselves, and if anyone dares to break into their territory, those joyful green-skinned beasts will be very happy to chop you into pieces. And even if they are broken by someone else, they only have one arm, one thigh, one finger, or even a small piece of meat left. They will soon sink underground, spread spores, grow a bunch of mushrooms, and next year they will grow a bunch of friendly kids, waaaaagh every day. And those green-skin orcs, even if their heads are chopped off by others, as long as they are relatively timely, even if they receive other green-skin orcs, they can still survive, which indirectly reflects their strong vitality. The orcs also have one of their most special skills, which is that they have their own unique stance, the waaaaagh stance, which is the spiritual stance of the orcs. Their waaaaagh stance can almost support them to do anything as long as they are willing to think. The weapons created by humans in the 40K universe seem illogical and scientifically advanced, but the green-skinned beasts can use them freely and unleash their maximum power. And when these weapons reach the hands of other races, they become a pile of completely unusable scrap iron, which is unique to the orcs and comes from the extraordinary technology tree encoded by the ancient holy genes. This is also supported by their almost omnipotent waaaaagh stance. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is a simplified version of idealism. System, what functions do you have? Lin Feng calmed down a bit and asked the system in his mind. Ding dong. Returning to the host, I can perform check.in, which can be divided into daily check.in, monthly check.in, and annual check.in. The check.in rewards are random, including Kid, Warboss, Gu Juji, Mao Jin Gang, and so on. The monthly check.in rewards are more generous than the daily check.in rewards, and the annual check.in rewards are more generous than the monthly check.in rewards. After careful consideration, Lin Feng realized that even with the powerful race of green-skin orcs in hand, he could not guarantee that he would survive well in this dangerous and powerful Marvel world. Lin Feng didn't think he could crush the purple sweet potato essence of 6 gemstones with the number of boys, and still snap his fingers to eat, drink, and live. Ding dong. Host, this system feels your concern, but the kids I gave you are not the kind of 40K garbage. They have unlimited growth potential, and their limits are not the kind of garbage that ancient orcs have. As long as you have enough waaaaagh, lead your kids to fight one unprecedented battle after another, and your kids can continue to grow, getting more and more waaaaagh. Chapter 2. Did the kids go to Mars? Above. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Moreover, although the green-skins may engage in internal wars, fights, to become stronger, bigger, stronger, and more waaaaagh, all green-skins will always be 100% loyal to their hosts and will never engage in backstabbing behavior, which can be absolutely reassuring for the hosts. That is to say, although they are small groups and large groups that will choose orc emperors, warbosses, and orc giants, the entire green-skinned race ultimately listens to Lin Feng himself. No matter how powerful the warbosses are, the orc emperor will only remain loyal to himself. Alright, one of Lin Feng's concerns has also been resolved by the system. These happy green-skinned people sometimes have big guys who want to challenge their current boss and stab him in the back. Of course, this is under the premise that the boss is not strong enough. But Lin Feng doesn't want to deal with such troubles non-stop every day, as having too many lice is also annoying. So the system helped him solve this point very well. Ding dong, we are now distributing a beginner gift package to the host. Please accept it. The sudden sound from the system delighted Lin Feng. Here it is, his newbie gift pack has arrived. Without any hesitation, Lin Feng instinctively said to the system in his mind. System, activate my beginner gift pack. Lin Feng can't wait to see what good things he can drive now. After all, his whole body is now covered in nothing but a set of dirty and filthy clothes. He can't even get a penny out of his torn pocket. Fortunately, Lin Feng happened to find a tall mirror next to the garbage dump, and found that his figure and face were still original. I suddenly felt a wave of peace of mind. Talking off topic, get back on track. Ding dong. The host has successfully opened the beginner's gift package. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 100,000 orcs, 200,000 farewell spears, and 200,000 skogs, different types. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Orc Elite Big Guy Strength, Forbidden Army Strength, ding dong. Congratulations to the host for receiving $10 billion. The account has been automatically opened for the host, and a bank card has been materialized. The password has been transmitted to the host's awareness. The origin of the card has been fully processed and will not be investigated. It is completely legal and compliant. Ding dong. This is a reminder that the host can switch between orcs and humans at any time. In human mode, it is 50% of the orc strength. Ding dong. The newbie gift package has been distributed. Please check it and wish the host good luck. After the system finished speaking this sentence, it fell silent, leaving only Lin Feng, who was still focused on collecting rewards. Seeing the generous gift package for beginners, Lin Feng's excitement gradually became uncontrollable. Lin Feng suddenly felt a tingling sensation in his body, with a surge of heat. It seems like the whole person has been slightly electrocuted. But this feeling quickly faded away. Then Lin Feng suppressed his inner joy and began to observe himself. I am already 1.8 meters tall, and this wave of reinforcement has directly increased Lin Feng's height by about 7.8 centimeters. Lin Feng was surprised to find that he was filled with seemingly inexhaustible strength. And his muscles are tight all over his body, looking strong but not lacking in beauty. The body he currently possesses is simply a perfect golden ratio. Lin Feng felt that he could easily blow up a car with just one punch. Is this the power of the Orc Elite Big Guy? It's so terrifying. The thought of how he could become even stronger and more powerful in the future made him even more excited. Subsequently, Lin Feng felt as if there was something in his pocket of clothes. No doubt, it's his bank card. Lin Feng laughed, finally able to change his tattered clothes. He still has to go eat a good meal now. However, before that, Lin Feng still has an important matter to solve. So, where should his army of orcs go? This thing is not easy to handle. If we put it on Blue Star now, we won't be able to point out these guys and we'll just start waaaaagh. If the ordinary world were okay, but this is Marvel world, now I dare to come up with these things so boldly and kill so many people. Don't blame those old monsters for coming out and raising Lin Feng in place. So, Lin Feng is a bit distressed now. What should these guys do? Ding dong. The system is aware of the host's distress and is now enabling the transfer permission for the host. Ding dong. The host can teleport the green skin beasts to any planet or satellite in the solar system, currently limited to one. Look, if you're dozing off, why don't you come with a pillow? This system is really thoughtful, Lin Feng thought to himself. Is there any restriction on the number or quality of orcs that can be teleported in the system? Lin Feng asked the system for help. Ding dong. Return to the host, there are no such restrictions. The host can teleport the orcs from both sides back and forth, but it doesn't matter. If you want to teleport the little ones from a planet or satellite, the teleportation mechanism is centered around the host and teleports them to the surrounding area. The host can summon them at any time. The system quickly replied, perhaps also knowing that Lin Feng was anxious. Ding dong. To add, the teleportation mechanism can not only teleport green skin orcs, but also teleport anything back and forth. The host's mind can create a teleportation range with just one movement. The system continued to add. Great! Lin Feng shouted excitedly in his heart, and he couldn't help but clench his fist. This is a divine skill, which means that as long as Lin Feng places the green-skin beasts on the planet, they can grow naturally. With their vigorous vitality and unimaginable reproductive ability, the quantity and quality of these young boys can rapidly increase in a short period of time, just like riding a rocket. Lin Feng will soon have an overwhelming army. The waaaaagh energy possessed by the green-skin beasts can gradually converge on Lin Feng, making him stronger and more waaaaagh. Moreover, Lin Feng can also provide various weapons on the blue star to the group of green beasts on the planet through his teleportation mechanism. Let those green-skinned beasts quickly start climbing technology. After the arrival of the Zatari people, Lin Feng believed that their warships and weapons could take the boys' technology to the next level. This is a positive cycle that is absolutely beneficial for Lin Feng, as long as those old monsters like Gu Yi and Odin don't cause trouble. However, the next sentence from the system also dispelled Lin Feng's concerns. Ding dong. The host doesn't have to worry, the system can absolutely block the planet selected by the host and refuse exploration by people outside the host. If someone tries to attack the planet, the system can take it back to a special space and release it once it is safe. Lin Feng is very satisfied with the system's ability to handle tasks. With such a good and thoughtful system, he dares to say that it is the only one among many travelers. So which planet is better to choose? Lin Feng is currently pondering which planet he should choose as the most suitable. Chapter 3. Did the kids go to Mars? Below. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After much thought, Lin Feng decided to choose Mars as the place where the children lived. Because Mars is relatively close to Blue Star, it can play an interception role in future wars. Assuming there is a space army attacking Blue Star. The moon is too small, and Lin Feng doesn't consider it either. There will be more and more kids, and they can't even put it on the moon. And Mars will not be as hot as Venus and Mercury, nor as distant as Uranus and Neptune. As for Jupiter and Saturn's forest peaks, we don't consider them anymore. The storms there will blow the kids into a puddle of mud. And the kids have strong adaptability to the environment, so Lin Feng decided to let them grow wild on Mars. System, I have selected the planet as Mars. Lin Feng said to the system in his mind. Ding dong. Good host, we have successfully selected a planet as Mars. May I ask how many green orcs the host has teleported to Mars? The system immediately answered and asked Lin Feng how many boys to send to Mars for development. After thinking for a moment, Lin Feng said to the system. Leave me 1,000 kids, and the rest of the kids, Farts, and Stigo, teleport them all to Mars. Lin Feng thought that he should leave a little boy here just in case. After all, he has money now, and even if he buys a big estate, he can plant some kids on a large plot of land. As long as these kids don't run around and get into fights. Ding dong. Host, the green-skin beasts have all been teleported. After the system finished speaking this sentence, Lin Feng could feel an inexplicable connection, far away. Lin Feng knows that these are his boys. After doing all these things well, Lin Feng now has an extremely important task to do. That's to hurry up and buy a set of clothes to change into, then find a hotel to take a shower and have a meal. He doesn't want to walk around with this stinky body. Lin Feng changed into his clothes and walked into an alley. He first went to a high-end clothing store on the roadside to buy a set of clothes, then went to the hotel to take a shower and have a meal. Then he came out. Very ordinary of course, except for clothing store cashiers and hotel cashiers, that's not what they think. Lin Feng also contacted them to inquire about the current time period and recent real-time news, in order to confirm where Lin Feng is currently at the point of the event. Lin Feng learned about the current time period through them. Our Mr. Tony Stark is still the reckless playboy, still selling his weapons recklessly. He hasn't been kidnapped yet, he's not the Iron Man in people's hearts, he's just a wealthy arms industry tycoon now. But it's almost there. In 15 days, the plot will start to get back on track. Since Tony Stark was kidnapped, the plot has rapidly developed. However, Lin Feng is not in a hurry. Even if Mr. Tony Stark becomes Iron Man, it will not have much impact on him. Lin Feng wants to clear a piece of land to plant his children. But now what to do? Lin Feng's head has grown bigger again. Although he has money, he knows nothing about these things. But he really plans to hire someone to help him with things, and he also needs a top-tier villa. After all, he is the leader of all orcs, the one who is the most waaaaagh. I definitely need the most amazing and awesome thing to use. However, one thing that Lin Feng did not consider was that New York at night was not peaceful, especially during the time when various superheroes had not yet appeared. There is a group of people, like members of a gang, consisting of 6 or 7 people. They had already noticed Lin Feng when he walked out of the clothing store. These gang members looked at Lin Feng alone, who dared to walk on the street in the middle of the night. He was still an Asian they believed was the best bully. For them, it's like putting a piece of fat in front of them and letting them nibble on it. However, as Lin Feng walked on the street, it was not convenient for them to start openly, so a few people followed behind him to see where he was going. If they find a suitable time, they will quickly take action. After Lin Feng entered the alley and gradually penetrated deeper, they thought their opportunity had come. They looked like hyenas searching for prey, and the group slowly surrounded Lin Feng. The leading Nigel and a white Moxigan grinned at Lin Feng and said, "Hey buddy. It's very dangerous to come to the street alone so late. Huanpi Pig, hello, we can borrow some money from you to spend some flowers." After Nige finished speaking, he arrogantly turned the small knife in his hand and licked the blade with his tongue, as if threatening and provoking Lin Feng. Meanwhile, the white Mozigan was even more direct, taking out a pistol and aiming it at Lin Feng. "Kid, hurry up a bit, I don't want my girl to hurt you either." Lin Feng looked at the people in front of him, expressionless, as if watching a clown show off. As long as Lin Feng thinks, with the strength and speed of his current human body, he can twist off the heads of these people in just 1 second. Not to mention if he changes his body and becomes an orc-like giant. Then he can dry all these bird people into meat patties. "Hey, kid, didn't you hear what I said?" The white man Mo Shigan became angry when he saw that Lin Feng had completely ignored them. "Good guy, I even pointed a gun at you, but you're not even afraid of it. Is this looking down on us or something?" This behavior made a group of people feel very embarrassed, so the white man Mo Shigan approached Lin Feng directly and used a pistol to hit Lin Feng's head. It seems like this can make Lin Feng scared to the point where his urine and feces flow, satisfying his pitiful self-esteem. But even so, Lin Feng's face remained unchanged, staring coldly at him. As if looking at a dead person. Lin Feng doesn't have much interest in continuing to play with him. I saw Lin Feng quickly snatch the pistol from the white man Moxigan in front of him at a speed that ordinary people couldn't see clearly. Then, with the other hand, he exerted a tremendous force and broke one of the white Mozigan's arms. The whole process went smoothly, and the white Moxigan and his accomplices had no time to react. The matter had already ended, leaving only the white Moxigan staring blankly at his broken arm and the pistol transferred from his hand to Lin Feng's hand. Ah. Ah. Ah 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 ah. White Mozigan held his broken arm and screamed in agony, his eyes wide open and his face full of disbelief. He couldn't imagine why his hand was broken in such an instant, and his gun was taken away by the man in front of him. He knelt down, panting heavily, and looked at the man in front of him with fear. Chapter 4. Waaaaagh. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The other few people were also frightened by Lin Feng's move and couldn't help but take a few steps back. And the originally arrogant Hey Ghost was so scared that he threw his small knife to the ground. Lin Feng looked at the pistol in his hand and shook it, which startled the other few people. However, Lin Feng felt that the pistol was of no use to him. After all, his body was now able to dodge bullets with his own body, and he could easily twist the necks of others before they fired. And this weapon is too garbage, not big enough, not waaaaagh enough, not suitable for his orc characteristics. What he wants to play is definitely the largest, most waaaaagh, and most violent avalanche. Then he had a thought and teleported the pistol in his hand away. I gave it to the kids on Mars to play with, and also asked them to quickly improve their technological strength. After all, in the absence of war, the development of technology among orcs was very slow. They needed some external forces, such as war, to quickly replicate various things. At this point, the various weapons that Lin Feng provided to them on the Blue Star were crucial, as it allowed them to constantly contemplate and create larger and more powerful items. This group of people saw that Lin Feng's weapon suddenly disappeared, and for some reason, they didn't feel scared. Instead, they suddenly felt that they could do it and slowly approached Lin Feng again. That ghost picked up his weapon again, and the others also took out their weapons, sticks, and pistols. Especially when the white Moxigan man saw that Lin Feng had no weapons in his hand, he supported himself with his other hand and climbed up, shouting at the others. "Hurry up, fools! This little bastard has no weapons left in his hands. What are you still afraid of? Kid, you have offended the wrong person. I will slowly make you die in pain. Our gang leader is under Jean He's command." The white Moxigan man looked at Lin Feng with a grim smile on his face, even if Lin Feng could break his arm. He doesn't believe that so many people are besieging together, or that with weapons in place, he can't cripple Lin Feng. However, it is obvious that he will eventually pay a painful price for his arrogance. Not only him, everyone is the same. Lin Feng was too lazy to waste his time with them. He wanted to see the fighting power of the boys and summon them just in time to let them enjoy themselves. But just these crooked melons and cracked dates, the kids probably won't even be able to find joy and they'll be chopped to pieces. They're too weak. With a thought in his heart, Lin Feng summoned 20 young boys out. In an instant, 20 young boys appeared behind Lin Feng. Some boys wield big chops, while others wield big pokes. The green in the dark night appeared extremely terrifying, with a pair of green eyes fixed on the group in front of them. What is this? Monster, monster. Mom. Mom, help me. I don't want to play anymore. No, 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 there can't be such a thing. After seeing these sturdy and tall green monsters suddenly appear behind Lin Feng, this group of people were instantly frightened and dumbfounded. They dare not imagine what kind of existence they have provoked. If they could do it again, they would definitely not follow this man. Boss, can we kill those shrimp? We can't help it anymore, hee 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 hee. At this moment, a little boy beside Lin Feng asked him, his tongue stirring wildly in his big mouth, and he looked at the white Moxigan man lying on the ground with a grin on his face. The big chop in his hand kept swinging, as if he wanted to immediately chop off the head of the white Mosaican man. The other orc boys were also eager to chop up all the shrimp in front of them. What's your name, you little brat? Lin Feng looked at the green-skinned orc beside him who was inquiring about him and asked. My name is Levia, boss. This kid said his name to Lin Feng. Green Feng, take your little boy and kill those shrimp. Get up, waaaaagh. Lin Feng patted Green Feng's chest and said coldly to the group of people in front of him. Waaaaagh. Damn it. Waaaaagh. The boss spoke up and killed them. Xiaoxiami. I'm going to eat you guys. After Lin Feng said the long-awaited words to Green Feng, all the boys were boiling. Although there are only a few people in front of them, it's not enough for them to have fun. However, even if there is less meat, it is also meat. Green Feng and his team believe that the boss will lead them to fight one after another in a peerless battle. The boss is not that bunch of idiots with runny noses, waaaaagh. The orcs all roared and rushed over the forest peak towards the group. Green Feng rushed to the front, wielding a large chopping stick, as if he was the most powerful one, intending to chop a pile of shrimp to death. They were all scared out of their wits, as if they couldn't even move, and their feet seemed to be filled with lead, unable to move any further. The white man Mo Shigan suffered the most. He didn't even have the strength to stand up, and he was in front of Lin Feng, at the front. Without even resisting, Green Feng flew up and kicked his head off. Brain splattered, red and white, even the eyeballs popped out. The orcs around not only didn't feel nauseous, but also became even more excited. Because this is the wildness inherent in the genes of orcs, they were born for war. And Lin Feng, too, did not feel any nausea. If we look at it normally, he used to be an ordinary person and suddenly saw someone die in such a tragic way in front of him. That will definitely make you nauseous and vomit. But now Lin Feng not only has no feeling, but also has an excited feeling like the boys. This is also caused by the genes of his green skin. However, Lin Feng didn't have any displeasure about it, and instead enjoyed the feeling very much. He can become stronger and stronger. Bang! Bang! Ah 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 ah. Someone finally couldn't bear it anymore, and in great fear, they raised their pistol and fired wildly at the boys. But their bullets are almost useless to the kids. The bullet hit the boys and a large part of them got stuck in their strong muscles. Even if some of the bullets go deep, it's not a big deal. On the contrary, the boys felt the pain and became even more excited, rushing even faster. Waaaaagh! Green Tooth collided directly with the hay ghost with its massive body, causing it to fly up in place. It flew 3 meters away, spitting out a large mouthful of blood and internal organ fragments. Then the ghost lay dead on the ground, with all his bones shattered and lying motionless. I can't die anymore. Chapter 5. Black Shark Gang. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The rest of the people watched as Hagui and that white Mosi died in such a tragic and terrifying way. Suddenly, there was immense fear, and one soul after another was almost scared out. I had to frantically turn my head and run, abandoning all the weapons in my hands, hoping to escape this terrifying place quickly. If they could survive, this would definitely be their lifelong nightmare, but unfortunately, they cannot survive. Green Feng doesn't know, the other kids don't know, and Lin Feng won't let them survive. They will only become the souls of the boys under the knife, being cut into pieces of meat and gradually rotting on the ground. Ah, 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 where's the note? Come out and protect me, ah ah ah. No, no, no. The boss will avenge us, ah ah ah, don't come over. Stay away from us. These people were frantically fleeing while shouting various comments in panic. There are those who beg for mercy, those who curse, and those who threaten. But Lin Feng doesn't care about these things. What are they? Dare to threaten Lin Feng too? A group of thugs and thugs. However, this group of people said that their leader's leader was the famous Jin, which piqued Lin Feng's interest. He felt like he needed to leave a chance to ask. After all, finding Jin didn't mean he could fight a more waaaaagh fight, instead of the current situation where the kids were completely chasing after these shrimp without any resistance, without any fun. It was simply too boring. For Lin Feng, it is necessary to find a strong opponent to fight in order to continuously improve his strength. Although an increase in the number of kids can also enhance Lin Feng's strength, as for green skin, it requires continuous fighting to become more and more powerful. Lin Feng also wants to try how powerful his current strength is compared to this world. Green Feng, leave a live shrimp and kill anything else. Lin Feng said to the Green Feng who was killing Zheng Huan not far away. Fortunately, Lin Feng spoke quickly. If it were any later, there might not be a single shrimp left. Okay boss. Green Feng shouted in response and then went on to kill shrimp. Under the slaughter of a group of young boys such as Green Feng, all the self-righteous members of the gang were chopped into meat sauce. Only one guy who had already been scared to the point of urine and feces was left behind. After all, this is what their boss Lin Feng requested. If they don't comply, Green Feng and the other kids may be beaten into 4 pieces by Lin Feng. Green Feng licked his big chopping, with an expression of still wanting more. These shrimp were too few, not enough for them to chop. But the thing that these shrimp people use, which makes a loud noise, is quite cool. Green Feng pondered that this shrimp thing was too small and not enough for him. He wanted the kids to have a big and waaaaagh collapse, which would be in line with his temperament. Lin Feng walked up to the young boys like Green Feng and found that they seemed to have grown bigger, stronger, and greener. This should be the result of the orcs' waaaaagh stance, as the more they fight, the stronger they will become. Green Feng gave Lin Feng a way to talk to the shrimp thing, and although he wanted to chop it off, the boss still held back forcefully beside him. Lin Feng walked up to the guy who was scared and collapsed on the ground. His crotch was full of feces and urine, which made Lin Feng cover his nose and look disgusted. But for the sake of questioning, he could only endure for a moment. You said your boss's boss is Jin Gu. Tell me who your boss is. Where is it? What gang are you? Speak up, I don't have that much patience. Lin Feng lowered his head and looked at the frightened guy, asking. Lin Feng smelled the scent emanating from him and silently swore in his heart that if this kid didn't say a word within 5 seconds. He asked Green Feng to pull out his head. It's really too smelly. However, this guy still had a bit of consciousness. When he heard Lin Feng's question, he immediately answered as if he had grabbed the only life-saving straw. Lin Feng was given an extra chance to live for 1 or 2 minutes, although it was a painful experience for him. I know. The name of our gang is the Black Shark Gang. There are about a few hundred people. Our leader's name is Joex, he's in the Hell's Kitchen. This guy finished everything in one go due to extreme panic, which made Lin Feng feel a bit relieved. He thought he needed to endure the stench for a few more minutes, but this guy went ahead and Lin Feng was very satisfied. Okay, thank you for your help. Green Feng, let's chop him off. After Lin Feng finished speaking, he immediately turned around and left the range of this guy's odor. No problem, boss. I'll handle this shrimp thing. Green Feng answered Lin Feng with a grim smile, then clenched the big chop in his hand and walked towards that guy. What? You can't. Help. That guy watched Lin Feng turn his head and leave, thinking that he could survive as long as he quickly finished speaking, but Lin Feng didn't act as he had imagined. The green guy walked over and suddenly screamed in panic, shouting incredulously. Unfortunately, this had no effect. Green Feng approached him, grabbed his head with one hand, and with the big chop in his hand, he chopped off his head with one blow and threw it aside. Lin Feng looked at Green Feng and felt that he could cultivate this weak little thing well. He thought that it would be feasible to cultivate Green Feng and these kids into heavy equipment bosses first, such as Warbosses. After all, he also wants his subordinates to have some strength, and some things can be done with the help of Green Feng and others. He's such a tired boss running around all day. Of course, those kids on Mars don't count. They are self-sufficient, and Lin Feng also wants to see how far they can develop. Mars is his main force. As long as Lin Feng wants, he can always bring a group of kids from Mars. After there are many kids, he can easily bring in hundreds of millions, even billions, which is just a small idea. But now that he has killed several shrimp things, there will definitely be some trouble. He doesn't want the kids to be exposed to the public right now. So he and the boys were all asked to lift the manhole cover and go to the sewer to hide. After all, when Lin Feng goes out, he always follows so many green things that no one is afraid of them. Moreover, there was an inexplicable connection between Lin Feng and these kids. As long as Lin Feng wanted to, these kids seemed to immediately sense Lin Feng's information and direction, and rushed over to fight. So there's no need to worry that these kids won't be able to find Lin Feng after entering the sewer. Chapter 6. Children on Mars, Part 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. However, Lin Feng felt that he still needed to quickly buy a piece of land in his own big villa, which could accommodate 10 or 20 young boys, so as not to let Green Feng and his companions wander around aimlessly all day. Lin Feng finally told Green Feng not to go out and fight casually. He could fight with a bunch of kids himself, but for now, don't go up there and provoke those shrimp things. There's no way, these kids can't sit still. If they don't let themselves fight, they might go up there to find shrimp to fight. Lin Feng still wants to develop for a while, at least he needs to have the strength of an old lady who can do it before he can go to the waves. Otherwise, the indiscriminate slaughter of shrimp will definitely be severely punished by Gu-yi. Lin Feng is going to live in the entire house first. As for weapons, if he had bought them on his own, he wouldn't be able to buy much for the kids to learn from now. So he still needs to find Jean and. If you are sensible, let him be your little brother and help you handle things, including various weapons, and then take care of them. If you don't understand, then I'm sorry. Lin Feng will pout him with a tide of kids. Lin Feng quickly left here, leaving behind a pile of wreckage. But Lin Feng can't control this, let those gangsters have their own headaches. Meanwhile, on Mars, what did the boss do to bring us here? A little boy looked at the surrounding red soil, a desolate scene, and asked the other boy next to him with a puzzled expression. I don't know either. It seems like the boss is asking us to bring out more kids to waaaaagh. But is there any cowardly thing in this place that can make us waaaaagh? The other green-skinned person, digging his nostrils, replied with a bewildered expression on his face. Not only do they have this doubt, but also the boys and fart spirits who sent with them have the same doubt. Of course, those cheerful Shigugo no longer had such doubts. They have started running around now, and some of them have swallowed the fart fairy around them with just one bite. Then a group of fart spirits ran around in fear. The green skin covering the mountains and fields is like a green tide, black and dense one after another, covering the red earth. The doubts of the green-skinned people quickly disappeared without a trace. After all, they were originally a happy race without any worries. In that cruel 40K universe, perhaps only the greens are the happiest and most carefree. Perhaps their only concern is that they don't have any fights to fight against. You little brat, you bumped into me. What are you talking about, you guy with the same head as a fart? I'll fuck you to death, you coward. Come on, you snotty idiot. Waaaaagh. Waaaaagh. The boys soon started fighting each other, and the fart spirits were also playing tricks on each other, or finding a boy to fight with. Shigugo is even more so, some fart spirits just ride on Shigugo and start indiscriminately attacking the kids around them. Although this is not the intention of the fart fairy. Green-skinned people are like this, either on the way or on the way. After a while, a curtain of light suddenly appeared on the ground, and the boys around were stunned when they saw this scene. Subsequently, the light curtain gradually disappeared, and it was the pistol that Lin Feng had teleported from the blue star that appeared on the ground. Is that what the boss brought over? It seems like a small thing. What kind of nonsense is that pitch-black thing? The boys looked at the pistols on the ground and kept thinking in their minds. A boy dropped a big chop and reached out to pick up the pistol, taking a look. Always putting on an orc-thinking demeanor, as if pondering something. Suddenly, he seemed to have something on his mind and stared at the pistol in his hand, starting to fiddle with it. Then he took his big chopping stick and crafted it together with a pistol. I'm thinking that this thing is not good enough for waaaaagh, the small one is not good enough. My rotten claw wants to create a big enough waaaaagh and powerful enough to burst out. Rotten Claw fiddled with the pistol while muttering to himself. As he spoke, he snatched the big poke from a boy next to him and integrated it together to create a perfect match. If Lin Feng were here now, he could see Rotten Claw emitting a faint green light all over his body. And it will definitely come up with a sentence. Gone. Isn't this a green skin giant? The green skin around them just watched as the Rotten Claws continued to operate here, and there were no more kids fighting with the fart spirit. They seemed to have formed a tacit understanding. However, some still restless Shigugo was knocked unconscious by the boys with just a few punches and kicks. Quickly, Rotten Claw shattered the orc in his heart. This is a unique skill belonging to orcs. As long as you think this thing can be used and give it a stance boost, even the most rundown thing can unleash maximum firepower. The great collapse of Rotten Claw is like this. It looks crude and can't even be done by firing, but with a larger caliber at the top, a single shot can create a big hole and blood hole for those crappy things. The small pistol that was originally on Rotten Claw's hand has now been assembled by him into a massive avalanche the size of its two arms. Bang bang bang. Rotten Claw grabbed Big Bang with one hand, then turned around and fired a few shots at an excited fart spirit beside him. The fart spirit was suddenly turned into green flesh by a huge bullet. Waaaaagh. Seeing the big avalanche on Rotten Claw's hand is powerful, waaaaagh, fierce, and cool enough to pull wildly. The kids around, the fart spirits are all boiling, they don't care about that beaten fart spirit thing. They are very excited and enthusiastic now. Rotten Claw also roared out excitedly. Waaaaagh. He fired a few random shots into the sky, feeling extremely excited. That cool thing was messed up by this guy. Then this guy is our big tech boss, right? That's right. Big tech bully. Whoever can make such a waaaaagh, such a top-notch thing, must be a big tech bully. Mie Ba. Mie Ba. Mie Ba. Waaaaagh. All the green-skinned people watched as Rotten Claw caused such a fierce avalanche, and all thought he was the orc's great skill master, even the group of soft farts were no exception, shouting loudly for the great skill master. And Rotten Claw, being pursued by so many kids, has also visibly grown in size. The body emitted a prominent green light, which was a bonus to the unique waaaaagh stance of the orcs, causing the Rotten Claws to quickly become stronger. The Rotten Claw grew to over 3 meters in just a few seconds, directly transforming into an orc giant. If Lin Feng were here, the custodian would shout out. Mie Ba. Chapter 7. Children on Mars, Part 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Rotten Claw felt the constant power emanating from his body, as if he felt like Brother Mao had kicked his head with their big feet. Rotten Claw now feels like he understands a lot of things, with countless rich knowledge of weapon manufacturing, various types of big collapses, big bumps, and powerful ancient giant bases. He feels like he can do it with Mao Jin Gang, and his head is full of energy. Waaaaagh. Rotten Claws howled wildly, roaring wildly. Waaaaagh. All the green skins roared along with the Rotten Claws. After Waaaaagh paused for a while, Rotten Claw stopped and looked at the dark boys around him, shouting loudly. I feel like I can come up with a lot of amazing things like thieves, you guys. Dig me down now. Dig me out those hard, shiny things. I want to come up with a bunch of fun ideas that can be used for waaaaagh. Then we're going to have an unprecedented big waaaaagh with the boss. Waaaaagh. As soon as the boys heard that there could be a peerless battle to fight, they all boiled up and roared wildly. Some boys were influenced by the words of their bad claws, and their brains suddenly twitched, crazily thinking and turning into technical kids. They also began to use their big chops, pokes, and hammers to transform themselves, and then began to dig underground. All the kids, the farts, saw them like this and worked hard, but sometimes they would start fighting each other while digging. Or the kid can grab a fart and stuff it into his mouth. However, this is the daily routine of the kids, very normal and harmless. In this way, under the leadership of Rotten Claw, the green-skinned ones developed rapidly, the little ones grew strong, and one mushroom field after another was constantly being pulled out, with great success. One by one, the little ones, fart spirits, and Shigugo kept emerging without stopping. Various powerful weapons are produced on Rotten Claw like assembly lines, creaking fast, creaking fiercely, with a large top and a buzzing sound. This is currently the daily routine of the kids on Mars. It has been a week since Lin Feng killed that group of people. Lin Feng is constantly feeling his strength increasing, and he can also feel the increasing number of kids on Mars, just like riding a rocket. This is really, leaving a green skin on the planet this year. Next year it will be a pile of green skin on the planet, and the following year it will be full of green skin running around the planet. However, Lin Feng doesn't care about these things. The more kids he has, the better. The more kids he has, the greater the waaaaagh energy he can give Lin Feng, and he will become stronger. Of course, war can also make Lin Feng stronger. Lin Feng can also sense that there is currently a powerful orc leader on Mars, and he thinks it's good because he won't backstab him anyway. The stronger his boys are, the better. Be more careful with the orc boss. Warboss comes out. I went straight to eliminate the bully. Through his perception, Lin Feng learned that there were actually a bunch of kids coming out of Green Feng's area. God knows how they grow so many things in the sewer. The vitality and reproductive ability of this green skin are really amazing, and Lin Feng can't help but admire it. When Green Feng left, there were 30 kids, but now there are almost 1,000 kids. How can those 1,000 kids hide in the sewer? The green skin covering the sewer. However, it surprised Lin Feng that Green Feng had not yet been discovered. He's a good kid, top-notch. Lin Feng from Lviat doesn't want to worry about it for now. Let him develop freely first, and don't let him go out and cause trouble. If there are too many kids on the blue planet who have been exposed by green skin, just go back to Mars on time and let the kids on Mars train and control the number. I can't keep an eye on that old thing like Guy. Lin Feng managed to secure housing, land, and his identity within this week. Do you want to ask Lin Feng how he did this? It's a simple money-making ability, kid, and there's also Lin Feng's own strength. Since someone tried to swallow his money by getting a certificate, Lin Feng kicked him directly into the ICU, and no one dared to provoke him anymore. Lin Feng built a 500 square meter villa and then built dozens of acres of land in the suburbs. When he is ready to have leisure and elegance, he grows a kind of boy. As for the check that in the past few days, Lin Feng has also revealed many good things. The content is as follows: 1 brother King Kong, 1 brother Mao King Kong, 10,000 racing boys, 100 orcs elite big men, with the strength of the Forbidden Army, 5,000 members of Krieger's Death Corps, absolutely loyal to the host, 5,000,000 orcs big Kaka, and 50,000 giant beast form Skugo. The rewards were very generous, and Lin Feng would be overjoyed every day when he checked in. However, when he arrived at the Krieger Death Corps, Lin Feng was bewildered. Aren't you the strongest orc system? How did you come up with this shrimp thing? What do you want me to do? What do you want the kids below me to think of me as the boss? Although the Krieger Death Corps is absolutely loyal to Lin Feng currently doesn't know where these fierce shrimp should be used. His boys are endless, and he still needs you, these 3 melons and 2 dates. Lin Feng even wants to expose it to the system and ask a good question. Are you sent by the Emperor? However, the system says it's definitely not. This is just a randomly generated reward, with a relatively small chance, but it's not without it. So, isn't it possible that after Lin Feng signs in, he might also sign out those blue skin things? He wants those melee waste to be useless. However, the space skeleton can also be drawn, which is a comfort for Lin Feng. After all, those guys have really powerful weapons. Lin Feng is very greedy for that phase weapon. There's no way, Lin Feng can only temporarily keep these crying people safe and see if there's anything necessary before releasing them. As for Zhao Gujin Gang, Mao Gujin Gang, Racing Boy, Giant Beast Shigugo, Orc de Kaka, and so on. Lin Feng threw all his brains onto Mars. This once again made the kids on Mars exclaim in surprise, and they immediately got into a fight with the racing kids. The tame of the giant beast, Hugo, and the fart spirit that should be eaten were all swallowed in one gulp, creating a lively scene. And the appearance of those 500,000 orcs and the appearance of the Fury King has made our big tech boss, the Bad Claw boss, even more arrogant. The orc boys roared again, shooting wildly with their big clatters, only to be kicked several times by their rotten claws. Rotten claws have become bigger and stronger again, reaching a height of over 4 meters. A terrifying big guy. Chapter 8. Hell's Kitchen, Part 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Feng could also clearly perceive the improvement of Rotten Claw's strength. He smiled slightly and said, "Okay, the faster the strength improves, the better." That's why Lin Feng likes the green skin orc race. Their strength always improves rapidly, while others require time to accumulate in order to gradually become stronger, while the orc boys are better off. They just need to keep fighting, and then they can become stronger, or the number of kids can continue to increase, and improving the overall waaaaagh stance of the orcs can also enhance their strength. Of course, Lin Feng's preference for the green skin orc race is based on their own side. Lin Feng is currently eating fresh and tender steak in his luxurious villa. This is something that Lin Feng specially paid a chef to do. He doesn't have such good craftsmanship. In a few days, the plot of Iron Man 1 is about to begin. Lin Feng silently counted the time when Tony Stark, the Playboy, was kidnapped. At that time, the magnificent Marvel Universe officially began. And Lin Feng can also fight one game after another, which is unparalleled. Lin Feng picked up the black tea beside him and savored it carefully. As for Jean, it's just a clown jumping off a beam. If it weren't for Lin Feng not wanting to cause too much trouble now, with his current strength, he could have been directly pulled out of his building and knocked out. Lin Feng thinks it doesn't matter anyway. He believes that even if he doesn't go to trouble, there will definitely be trouble coming to him. Just wait calmly every day. Did you find out who killed 6 or 7 members of our gang? And even blew up my brother's head? A big man with a beard all over his mouth, holding a cigar in his mouth, sat cross-legged on his leather chair, looking at the man in front of him with a shy expression and asking. He was the gang leader that the guy who was scared by the green skin and had a lot of feces and urine confessed to at the time, Jorks. The white Mozegan man who was hit hard by Green Fong's foot was the younger brother of the gang leader in front of him. Boss. I found out. At that time, your younger brother and his brothers saw an Asian. Then they followed that Asian into an alley and never went out again. The man who was pressured by Jorks looked at Jorks in a panic and then spoke up. He spent a lot of money on the notes in order to complete the task given to him by Jorks and figure it out. Then the police allowed him to check the surveillance footage at that time. The man was extremely frightened when he saw Jorks' younger brother, White Mozegan, and a group of people following this Asian into the alley and never coming out again. They were 6 or 7 guys carrying weapons. Although their combat power was just like that, it was not something that Asian Americans like Lin Feng, who looked honest and didn't know how to carry weapons on the street, could solve. The more the man thought, the more panicked he became, and then he kept studying who this Asian was. But he is simply doing useless work. He couldn't find any information about Lin Feng on the internet. As if he appeared out of thin air. So this man wouldn't just panic because of an Asian, and wouldn't even dare to tell Jorks the news. Because this thing is really weird. What are you talking about? An Asian. Picking out 6 or 7 people with weapons. Killing my brother with such cruel means. Are you sure he's not a killer from another gang? Jork sat on the leather chair and glared fiercely at the man in front of him, repeatedly asking questions, which scared the man back. I don't know either, boss. Your younger brother doesn't know who he has offended, and this is not something I can decide. The man looked timidly at Jorks, whose anger was about to solidify, and cautiously said. Are you quite talkative? Come in and chop off one of his fingers. Jorks pressed his cigar into the ashtray and said expressionlessly to the person outside the door. The man's face immediately turned pale. He wanted to beg for mercy but dared not, because he knew that if he begged for mercy, will face harsher punishment. Mr. Cox doesn't like cowards. So he could only endure his fear and wait for the person outside the door to come in. Quickly, 2 strong white men came in from outside the door, and they directly held down the man. A white man holding a machete aimed at the man's index finger and slashed fiercely. Suddenly, the man's hand was bleeding profusely. The strong man wiped the blade with the man's clothes, then turned around and left, completely indifferent, as if he had experienced such actions many times before. The man tightly grasped his severed finger and screamed wildly, his whole body almost going crazy in pain. Rolling back and forth on the ground was covered in fresh blood. Jork squinted slightly and then waved his hand, gesturing for 2 strong white men to drag him out. To avoid dirtying his floor. The man howled in pain while being dragged out by 2 strong men. In the quiet room, Joex crossed his hands and seemed to be thinking about something. He is considering whether to report this matter to his boss, Jin He. After all, who doesn't know that the Black Shark Gang is under Jin He's command, who dares to provoke Jin He? I'm afraid I don't want to live and see the sun the next day, do I? However, with just such a small loss of people in Jorks' own gang, it is unlikely that Jin He will give it a slight glance. Unless their entire gang is destroyed by others, it will only attract Jin's attention. So, Joex still felt that he had to try to solve the problem himself, otherwise Jin wouldn't recommend someone else to take on the position of leader of the Black Shark Gang. Moreover, he must personally seek revenge for killing his younger brother. He wants to chop off that damn Asian head and feed it to the dog. Kid. You're definitely dead, I'll definitely find you. Joix's veins gradually bulged on his face, with a murderous intent. The next day Lin Feng walked freely on the street, feeling bored lately. It was time to find some fights to fight. He doesn't remember having a grudge against. What's the name of the Black Shark Gang for him? They are still the younger brothers of Jin and should be able to fight. So Lin Feng planned to go to the kitchen area of hell to see if the gang members were there, if they knew him, and then still to find a fight. If any shrimp thing recognizes him, then it's easy to deal with it. Just hit him hard and put him in the ground, like a dozen or so kids can't even catch him. Of course, Lin Feng is not just planning to get rid of these crooked and juicy shrimp and rice things. He wants to work hard and go. He wants to see if it's Jin's muscles that are hard, or if it's Lin Feng's orc-like beast with big feet. Chapter 9. Hell's Kitchen, Middle. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Feng only walked on the street of Hell's Kitchen for less than an hour before being noticed by someone with a heart. Do you think that kid is the person that Boss Jokes is looking for? A tall man pointed to Lin Feng, who was strolling in the distance, and nudged the white man next to him with his elbow, then turned sideways to ask the question. The white man reacted when he was pushed up by the man and turned his head to look where the man's finger was pointing. He squinted his eyes slightly, looked at it, and pondered for a moment, only to find that Lin Feng and the person in his mind that Joex had asked them to look for were very similar. Then he quickly said to the man next to him. Yes, it should be. You go back and tell Joe's boss, I'll take care of this kid. That guy heard the white man say this and immediately turned his head and ran, ready to go back and tell their boss, Joe's. The white man has been carefully following behind Lin Feng, maintaining a distance of several tens of meters from him. With Lin Feng's physical fitness, their small actions could not be concealed from him, but Lin Feng was too lazy to expose them or kill them on the spot. After all, he's here to have fun. He gave Shimmy the joy of spreading the news, so what more fun is he looking for? The more shrimp and rice items come to dry, the better. However, yesterday's signing-in award has been issued, and Lin Feng still wants to complain about it. Because the things distributed to him by the system are really too loyal, he suspects that he is not a green-skinned thing. The system gave him 100 forbidden soldiers, absolutely loyal to the host. Lin Feng was completely stunned when he heard this reward. Aren't you an orc system? These things are getting more and more bizarre each time. However, Lin Feng could only laugh while crying. These golden corn cobs have considerable combat power, making them good bodyguards in human form. After all, these guys can probably make 10 Captain America, and not just that. The combat effectiveness is simply explosive. So Lin Feng thought for a moment and gladly accepted it. It was also very good to let these golden corn cobs take action when it was inconvenient for orc forms to appear. Lin Feng still pretended to be calm and walked slowly on the street, sometimes going to the bakery to buy some bread to eat, and then going to the ice cream shop to buy some ice cream to eat, feeling uncomfortable. The white man who had been following Lin Feng all along after suffering, could only watch Lin Feng eat, and then he was forced to go hungry. He hates it. Why hasn't that damn ghost come yet? But when it comes to ghosts, ghosts come. There were more than 20 people following behind him, each with bulging pockets in their pants, without even thinking about what they were carrying. Lin Feng also noticed that the Hay Ghost was walking towards him with a strong aura. Lin Feng smiled slightly and did not step back. Instead, he walked forward in the direction of the Hay Ghost. This scene startled the white man following Lin Feng behind him. Isn't it, buddy, have you always been so brave? However, the white man only hesitated for a moment and then followed closely. Hay Ghost and the group of people behind him were also stunned when they saw Lin Feng approaching. Lin Feng walked up to Hague and said slowly with a smile on his face. Little brat, just use any moves you have. Okay, let's go then. Oh. What? Hey, the ghost instinctively responded to Lin Feng, then froze for a moment and quickly realized that this kid dared to go directly with them. However, Hague is too lazy to pursue these matters. The task given to him by Boss Jokes is for him to bring Lin Feng to his place. What is the difference between active and passive? Anyway, it's just a matter of his dear Boss Jorks. Hay Ghost took Lin Feng to the side of a sedan, then opened the car door and sat in. Lin Feng also sat in, sitting in the middle of the back seat, with a strong man holding a pistol on each side. The two strong men occasionally glared at Lin Feng with fierce eyes, but Lin Feng was too lazy to care about them, just thinking of him as a clown. After all, what do you have to do with dying people? It's just chopping him a few more pieces. And more than 20 people who followed Hague and the white man who followed Lin Feng also rode in their own cars and followed Hague's car forward. After a few minutes, Lin Feng watched as the car slowly drove into a factory building. What caught the eye were hundreds of armed shrimp toys staring at the slowly driving car. But they didn't stop the car from coming in because they knew it was the person their boss, Jorks, wanted. The car slowly came to a stop, and Joke stood in front of the car with 6 strong men armed with guns. Joex was still holding a cigar in his mouth, staring fixedly at Lin Feng as he slowly got off the car. Lin Feng didn't pay attention to Joex's murderous gaze, but instead calmly patted his clothes. This move startled the strong man next to Lin Feng. He threw a stock of his gun directly at Lin Feng's back with a crisp sound, but Lin Feng remained motionless. Instead, he slowly turned his head and smiled at the guy who had hit him with the stock of his gun. This guy will be chopped into more pieces later. Lin Feng thought to himself. This strong man saw Lin Feng unscathed, not even moving a single penny of his body. Suddenly, his scalp tingled and his whole body furrowed, especially when Lin Feng looked at him with a smile. Why did he feel as if he was suddenly shrouded in death? Jokes couldn't help but widen his eyes slightly as he looked at Lin Feng. He could see that the butt of the strong man's gun had indeed hit Lin Feng's back just now. But Lin Feng's seemingly unscathed appearance really surprised him a bit. You should know that even a strong man would have to kneel down with this, but Lin Feng remained motionless as if nothing had happened. But he still thinks that even if you are powerful, can you still withstand bullets? So Joex still didn't pay too much attention, only considering Lin Feng as a martial artist. Asian kid, do you know that the Moshigantu you killed a few days ago is my younger brother? So what kind of punishment do you think I should impose on you is the best? Hard-skinned guy. Joss looked at Lin Feng, spitting out a smoke ring from his mouth, and slowly said to him. I didn't know before, but now I know, so what about you, you gorilla with a monkey butt face? Lin Feng spread out his hand and casually said to Joex, as if this was not something ordinary at all. Upon hearing Lin Feng's words, Kayak's veins suddenly bulged and he stared at him intently. Chapter 10. Hell's Kitchen, Part 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jokes didn't expect that Lin Feng, who knew nothing about the world, would dare to speak to him like this. He is a subordinate of Kim Jong, an Asian kid from somewhere who dares to challenge his authority. I have already caught them, and they dare to be so arrogant even when they are on the brink of death. Jork swore that he would use a sheep horn hammer to break Lin Feng's fingers one by one. Okay. Okay. You're great. Yellow-skinned pig. I will let you know what despair is. Someone. Tie him up for me, and I will personally kill him bit by bit. Jork gritted his teeth and looked at Lin Feng, saying that these few words almost popped out from between his teeth. Obviously, at this point, Jork was already extremely angry. After Jork finished speaking, 4 people walked up directly to Lin Feng, holding iron chains and preparing to tie him up. Lin Feng looked at them but pursed his lips. Seems indifferent to their actions. I'm tired of playing and don't want to play with you anymore. Lin Feng took a step forward and suddenly everyone around him raised their guns to prevent him from taking any suicidal action. Who knows if Lin Feng has a circle of bombs tied to him? But if Lin Feng knew they thought so, he would definitely be speechless. Lin Feng said, do you look down on me so much? System, bring me 200 kids from Mars. Lin Feng silently said to the system in his heart and waved his hand. Lin Feng is too lazy to deal with these useless things. Even if he kills them, it won't increase his strength. They are too weak. Orc bosses like Lin Feng have to fight against those top-notch and awesome things in order to become stronger and stronger. Playing these things is simply a waste of his energy, so Lin Feng thought it might be better to gather some kids from Mars and let them come and attack the little shrimp things in front of him. This can also enhance their strength and gather more young men back. As for why not ask Green Feng and his team to come over, Green Feng is a bit far from Lin Feng. It's too slow for him to come from there, so it's better for him to come quickly from Mars. Immediately after, the system received Lin Feng's command, and 200 light curtains appeared in the entire factory building. The sudden appearance of the light curtain stunned everyone present. Jork opened his mouth wide and his cigar fell directly from his mouth to the ground. He couldn't imagine that such a scene could be created by Lin Feng, an Asian. However, Jork truly deserved to be a guy who had seen a little bit of the world, after being stunned for a moment. Immediately ask his little brothers to lift their firearms and aim them at the strange light curtains that suddenly appear. And some of the younger brothers quickly reacted when they heard Jorks calling out to them, pointing their firearms at the light curtains. At the same time, they did not forget to separate some people and aimed their guns at Lin Feng, who was full of boredom. Lin Feng was whistling at the moment, and he said as if jokingly, "Calm down. Guys, this is just a little fun, it's going to be over soon. Really, believe me." However, it was obvious that everyone did not believe any of Lin Feng's words, and even tightened their grip on the firearms in their hands. "Boss. There seems to be some movement inside." At this moment, a young man with a gun aimed at the light curtain. He seemed to see a sudden flicker of the light curtain, and hurriedly said to Jorks in the distance. Bang! Suddenly, just as the little brother was getting closer to the light curtain, a huge bullet shot out of the light curtain. I directly smashed my entire upper body. Blood splattered everywhere, pouring like a torrent, and my little brother's bone fragments scattered all over the ground. Seeing the pitiful death of his younger brother, everyone froze. Jorks widened his eyes once again, as if wanting to see where the attack came from. However, their stunned state at this moment was also the perfect moment for their burial. Waaaaagh. Kill the shrimp thing. Waaaaagh. Bang bang bang. Bang. Buzz. Buzz. Boss, it's amazing. Waaaaagh can finally dry shrimp. We're really enjoying ourselves. Gaga. In an instant, the barrage of light was filled with gunfire and bullets flying wildly, followed by the wild and screaming orc boys. They are almost flipping over. Jokes and his group were completely stunned, as dozens of people died in an instant. Either he was killed by the rocket launcher hit by the orc boy blindly, or he was crushed into pieces by the orc's big crack and big avalanche. Even some people, without even having time to lift their guns, were crushed into a ball of indistinct flesh by the racing kids suddenly rushing out of the light curtain. Some young men were so scared that they didn't even dare to lift their guns when they saw this scene. They threw the guns on the ground and ran away, which scared their hearts out of fear. But is running useful? Where can they run to in such a big place? The chopping boys caught up with the fleeing softies and chopped off their heads, some even splitting them in half. Some people wanted to counterattack and fired a few shots at the orc boys, but it basically didn't work. Those bullets were basically stuck in the strong muscles of the boys and couldn't go any further. And those shrimp toys that dared to shoot naturally receive 100 times more care from the kids. The kids just love this kind of shrimp thing with resistance. Although the resistance is not strong, it's at least a fun thing. It's much better than those shrimp who only know how to run around and run around. The kids like to be able to fight. The more shrimp and rice toys can fight, the happier they are. The happier they are, the harder they fight, and the more waaaaagh they are. Just like a strong man among them who dares to shoot at the green-skinned boys. I was directly targeted by 7 or 8 bombarding boys. All the bombarding boys fired their guns together, shouting loudly. All 5 guns flew away, and the remaining 2 or 3 guns directly turned the strong man into a pile of debris.